Hello guys, news in is that the U.S. Navy Criminal Investigation Service is now involved in the Leoda Bradshaw case of the takeout of MP Phillip Paulwell's daughter, Sarayah Paulwell, and their mother Tashayna Patterson, as Bradshaw is confirmed as a Navy petty officer and one of their own soldiers. So there is an interest in the Navy joining the investigation team, as she will still have to answer to them for this incident. The Navy made a statement via NBC News 6, and I quote, "The U.S. Navy Criminal Investigation Service has joined the investigation of the murder of 10-month-old Sarayah Paulwell and her mother, 27-year-old Tashayna Patterson. United States Navy officer 34-year-old Leoda Bradshaw is among 4 people charged for the takeout. Miss Bradshaw is facing charges of takeout and kidnapping." The story was aired on Monday night on NBC 6 in Miami. As the Navy takes seriously any misconduct that may stain the Navy services and what they stand for. The Navy confirmed Bradshaw is a petty officer and she's assigned to a talent acquisition team in Miami and is now facing charges of murder and kidnapping and accused of hiring hitmen to kill Tashayna Patterson and their daughter Sarayah Paulwell in Jamaica. The Navy further stated, "The Navy takes all allegations of misconduct seriously and is fully cooperating with the appropriate investigative and law enforcement authorities. The matter is currently under investigation by Jamaican authorities and the Navy Criminal Investigation Service." The Office of the Director of Public Prosecution in Jamaica alleges Bradshaw and her cousin hired the 2 men to take out the child and her mother. The contracted men allegedly carried out the murder by shooting the victims and then burning them. It is one of the most painful investigations for the team since recent times. However, the team of investigations continue to be professional and remains focused, said the Jamaican official. You know what is very funny? Is that I notice no one on both sides of the political fence is saying much on this matter. Yes, Babs Grange come out and condemn the killing after the arrest, but you're not going too deep and saying much, and even other members don't really want to venture out to say much either, I've noticed. But the reason now seems to be clear, as no one wants anything they say to be a part of the process towards the result of the case, as they would have known then that the Navy office would get involved, and no one wants to get entangled there, as they all have skeletons in their closet. And even though they belong to different political party, they are generally a part of the buddy club in private and really looking out for each other, despite they may have their own scenarios in the case, but it will never be known publicly. And remember, despite their political persuasion, they all do favors for each other. So until this case is truly over, before you might hear any real peep out of much of any of them, if at all. Even the woman carcasses of the party, they are staying quiet, as it can never be said that they said too much. However, over the weekend, MP Phillip Paulwell said he was heartbroken at what he described as the unimaginable murder of a mother and an innocent baby. You know what I find with this statement? He never once said, my daughter, my child. You know what I mean? And so on. Not saying that he's not hurting, you know. It's just how him distance himself still from the I can understand for the mother, but the child, you don't see any empathy towards him saying like my baby daughter. You know what I mean? No, nothing there. It's, you know, I don't know. You guys tell me what you think. Let me continue. Mr. Paulwell noted that as a human being, father, lawyer, and legislator, he is hoping all who are involved are brought to justice and face the full extent of the law. He is right, we all hope for that. Gender Minister Olivia Babsy-Grange has came out sympathizing with lawmaker Phillip Paulwell. She said, I commiserate with all, including my colleague, Member of Parliament Phillip Paulwell. We can tell a lot about a country by the way it treats its women and children. What does it say about us? When we see such horrific violence resulting in the death of women and children in our country, especially during the last few weeks, she said to condemn the violence and to say that our prayers are with the families does not express the pain and anger that I feel, that we all must be feeling when we hear the chilling details of such violence. She further said despite various legislative policy and programmatic measures, violence is still a challenging reality for too many of our sisters. Some of the responses including the establishment of shelters, domestic violence intervention centers at police stations and helplines. We need all hands on deck now to end the violence. We can end the violence, but it requires all of us to end the violence, Grange said, adding that the risk of violence is greatest in the society where the use of violence in many situations is a social accepted norm. The risk of violence, sadly, is high in Jamaica because too many of us believe this violence is normal and inevitable and is the only way to solve situations and crises. Grange further said, we have to take stock. Do we want to be known as a country that kills its women and children, or do we want to be known as a nation whose men and women live and work together in harmony? The choice is ours. Babsy-Grange is so right. It's only we as a people can make that change. So the best we can do is continue to watch this case and see where it goes from here, as there is a long, wide and bendy road ahead, and there will be many shocking and awe moments, because remember that this case was not a case where people were in war, you know. This wasn't a situation where, you know, is rival gangs against each other, you know. This case is a case of jealousy taken just too far, and people not learning to control themselves. And I remember my grandmother always say, when you are not able to control yourself and stop yourself from doing things that you personally know is not right, if you have no control how to direct your path, you already lose the race in this life. This was a woman that wanted so much to control the mind and the heart of her man, but she don't try to understand if the man wanted the same thing. She was just focusing on what benefits her and her child, notwithstanding that the man have other children. but somehow her child would not have been the youngest, because now he would have had little Sarayah Paulwell, such a beautiful little baby, and that was what she set her sights on, getting rid of that little baby. It is just so painful to think of when you know as a little child you're looking up to the elders to keep you safe, to assure you, and to make sure no harm is come of you, and to find out that same elder or those same elders are the ones that we have to fear the most. So all this come down to this woman wanted this man to be hers and hers alone, and thinking she would try to take away all distractions that could take him from seeing her as his everything. So now she have done such a ghastly act and she's locked up. What does she think the man will be doing? Do you think he's going to be holding his hand and crying all the time? Life goes on. But the thing mostly that I think she had relied on is that Jamaica is a careless country and people have gotten away with so much, and because of her position and links in society, she thought it would just go down of one of those cases that was unsolved. But because of the innocence involved in the whole situation, God took the reign on this situation, and look how quickly it turned, leaving her now to explain herself and pay the penalty for her sins. Anyway, guys, let's stay focused and watch this case. Anyway, please remember to like, comment, and subscribe to my platform, please. Love you all. Bye for now.